When you get a product idea, you probably start by choosing between a website and a mobile app. But there is another option. It can see the page your user is viewing. It can change the interface of another product, and it can automate a workflow without asking the user to leave the workflow. That is what a browser extension actually is. Not a smaller web app, not just a pop-up inside a Chrome. A browser extension is a software layer between a user and the web. By the end of this video, you will know when the layer is a better product than a website, mobile app, or API integration. We have been building and analyzing Chrome extensions for more than 10 years, and during the time we have launched and monetized more than 100 browser extensions. The most important decision often happens before you write the manifest. You have to choose the right form for the product. Most product ideas can be built in several ways. Imagine you want to help a user collect information from the multiple websites. You could build a SaaS dashboard and ask them to copy the information into it. You could build a mobile app and ask them to move between two devices. You could build an API integration if every website provides the access you need. Or you could place the tool directly inside the browser where the information already exists. The feature may look similar in every version, but the user experience is completely different. In the first three versions, the user must bring the context to your product. With an extension, your product can meet the user inside the context. That is why choosing the format is not just an engineering decision. It determines how much behavior your user must change before receiving value. Here is the simplest model. Most software products act as a destination, a connection, or a layer. A website, a SaaS product, or a mobile app is usually a destination. The user opens it, enters its environment, and works inside the interface you control. This is the right model when your product needs its own workspace, data model, navigation, and long user session. In API integration is the connection. It moves data or actions between systems without necessarily creating a new interface for the user. This is the right model when both systems expose stable APIs and the workflow can happen in the background. A browser extension is a layer. It adds capabilities to a page, tab, or browser workflow the user already has. It can read the visible context, add controls, react to browser events, and coordinate actions across tabs with the permission the user grants. In simple terms, a destination says, "Come here and use my product." A connection says, "Let the system talk." A layer says, "Keep working, I will improve what happens here." And that single difference explains most of what makes browser extension useful. A normal web app controls its own page. It cannot simply open another company's website, read its DOM, add a button, or react to what the user is doing there. An extension can do those things when its declared permissions and browser APIs allow them. That gives it three important capabilities. First, context. The extension can respond to the page, tab, URL, or browser event the user is currently dealing with. Second, interface. It can add a button, panel, menu item, shortcut, or modified page experience at the point of need. Third, automation. It can remove repeated actions inside or across browser workflows. The important part is not that extensions have more power than websites in every situation. They do not. The important part is that they have a different position. They sit closer to the user's current task. Now, I'll translate that product position into architecture. You don't need a complete coding tutorial to understand the system. You need 5 simple ideas. The manifest is contract. It tells the browser what the extension is, which components it uses, and which capabilities or websites it may need to access. The service worker is a coordinator. In Manifest version 3, it acts as a central event handler. It works when needed, responds to browser and extensions events, and coordinates work that should not live inside the page. Content scripts are the eyes and hands. They run in the context of matching web pages. They can read the DOM, change it, and exchange messages with other parts of the extension. The pop-up, side panel, or injected controls form of the control surface. They give the user a way to start an action, change a setting, or understand what the extension is doing. And finally, permissions are the trust budget. Every additional permission may unlock useful functionality, they may also create another reason for the user to hesitate. So permissions are not just implementation details. They are part of your product offer. The user is effectively asking, is the value I receive worth the accept this extension request? That is the architecture of an extension compressed into one product model: a contract, a coordinator, eyes and hands, a control surface, and a trust budget. This power comes with a cost. When your product lives inside someone else's workflow, part of that workflow belongs to someone else. A website can change its DOM, a browser can change its APIs, manifest requirements can change, store policies can change, and the permissions that feel reasonable to you may feel dangerous to the user. So an extension gives you context but less control. A standalone SaaS gives you control but less context. Neither one is automatically better. The correct choice depends on where the product creates its value. If the value exists only because your tool can understand or modify the current browser workflow, the dependency may be worth it. If the value can live entirely inside an interface you own, a standalone product may be safer and easier to maintain. So, how should you choose? Take your product idea and ask 4 questions. First, does the product need the context of the current page? Does it need to know what is user reading, watching, editing, buying, or entering right now? Second, does the product need to change an existing interface? Would its value become stronger if a button, warning, score, filter, or action appeared directly inside another website? Third, does it need to automate a browser workflow? Does the user currently repeat clicks, copy information between tabs, download items one by one, or perform the same sequence across pages? Fourth, would switching to a separate product weaken the value? If opening another dashboard, app, or device add the friction are you trying to remove, the browser may be the right place for your product. If you answer yes to several of these questions, you should seriously evaluate a browser extension before defaulting to a web or mobile app. But if your idea needs its own workspace, long sessions, offline device capabilities, or a background system-to-system data transfer, another format may be better. This test will not choose the architecture for you. It will stop you from choosing it automatically. And that can save months of building the right feature in the wrong product. A browser extension is not defined by its pop-up. It's defined by its position. It can stand between the user and the web, understand the current context, and add a useful action exactly where it's needed. That makes it fundamentally different from a website, mobile app, or API integration. So when you get your next product idea, do not begin with the framework, the store, or the manifest. Begin with one question. Does the product need its own destination? Or does it need to improve a workflow that already exists? If it needs the workflow, you may not be building another app. You may be building a layer.